Hi class, Professor Z. I just want to go over what you're going to do this week, okay? So, first things first, make sure you completed everything you needed to complete for week one. It was a lot of work. Some of you felt like maybe you had fallen behind a little bit or didn't quite realize everything you had to get done. So, now is the time to get it done before you fall even further behind. So, go back through the modules for both English 101 and English 108 and make sure you've completed all the work. I would just start with the overview video that is at the top of the module where I walk you through everything you have to do and just make sure you've done all that stuff. Quick review of week two, what we did in class. So we discussed body paragraphs. We talked about the things that need to go in a body paragraph. That's the development part. Do you remember the parts of a body paragraph? I'm not going to tell them to you here. And then we also talked about structure of a body paragraph, which has to do with the way in which you put those pieces together. So where do you put the topic sentence? And we discussed 5 patterns. Do you remember the 5 patterns? Those are things that we talked about in class this week. A second thing we talked about was annotation. We talked about things that you should do when you annotate, which came directly from the lesson in your supplemental packet. And then we also talked about how to do a descriptive outline, which is where you're explaining the function of paragraphs, what the paragraph contributes to the overall reading. So is the paragraph an introduction? Does it give you background information? Does it develop a key point? Is it an example of something? All of those things are things that you can add to your annotation. I don't expect you to do that all the time, but I do expect you to start to become more aware of what each paragraph is contributing to the overall argument that or the overall chapter that you're reading. The third thing we talked about in class was the study skills reading. I had asked you to complete the 2 questionnaires and then to write the reflections where you basically analyze how you're doing with your reading comprehension skills and your concentration skills. So we talked a little bit about the rote methods and the strategies that you can use to replace them. We talked about how to create study questions for yourself, how to do self-testing. And, you know, we did a lot. Every week, we only meet once a week for 3 hours, and we're going to cram in as much stuff as we can. And then during the week, you're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. So that's what you got to do. This is what you got to do this week, okay, for homework. So remember, just always start by doing the quizzes or the pre-tests, which are in both the Canvas and both the 101 and the 108 shells. So there's 2 different what do you already know pre-tests, and they ask you like 1 or 2 questions each. You're just going to answer them to the best of your ability. And then these are the things you have to do. You'll notice I have SP 58 to 63, SP 66, SP 64, 65. It's all in your supplemental packet. You can also find all of these things on Canvas. There'll be links to them within the assignments. So the first thing you've got to do after you've completed the 2 pre-tests is finish the next 5 paragraphs. In class, we did the first 5 paragraphs where we identified the topic sentence, identified the pattern, and paraphrased the main idea. For homework, I'm asking you to just complete the next 5 paragraphs. And I know in class some of you did get through some of those already. Then the thing you have to do for 101 is write using the 5 patterns. That's on page 66. That's the assignment where I gave you 5 different prompts. I said, for example, write a paragraph about your personality, and then you have 5 prompts, and then you have the 5 patterns. So you have to use each of the patterns 1 time. So you're going to write 5 total paragraphs, and you get to choose for each prompt which pattern you want to use. So you get to match a pattern with a prompt. And of course, I expect these patterns to also be developed, right? I'm talking about structure with the 5 patterns, but I also expect you to develop them in that 11-sentence sort of structure that we talked about. So once you get those done, and you know what, do 1 paragraph a day. It'll be done by Thursday. Then you've got Gladwell. So we're going to start reading Gladwell. And I'm asking you to read the introduction and the first chapter and to complete the study questions. which are in your supplemental packet. What I would do is maybe preview the study questions before you before you jump into the book, so you have those fresh in your mind as you're reading. You can have the study questions out as you're reading, or you might just like look them over and then do the reading and then go back, see which study questions you could answer, and then go back and reread and look for answers to other ones that you need help with. And same deal with Gladwell. I'd break it down. Okay, don't overwhelm yourself. Do a little bit at a time. And then once you're done with that, you're pretty much home free. Then you've got the post tests, right? So in each class, in one, that's why what the X2 times 2, right? For 101 and 108, what did you learn? Okay. And those are tests. Those are self-tests. They're self-tests to see like, hey, did you learn what I wanted you to learn that week? Okay. And I want to go in and show you how to change your notifications, because I know that was bothering some of you. And I'll walk you through the modules just so you can see how everything's set up. So let's just take a look at that. Ignore my scary looking desktop. Okay, so here's the student view, right? So here's 101, right? And you can go to modules, or you can click on the hyperlinks here. So week 2 paragraph structure, that's where we're at. And when I come to week 2, you will also see the video that I'm currently making. You'll see that at the top of the module. It's not there right now, but the week 2 plan will show you everything you need to do. Classwork shows you what we did in class today. And then the homework is listed here, which is, there's also a sample study schedule here, which you might want to think about doing a study schedule, like blocking out when you're going to get work done this week. So here's your pretest, here's your write with the 5 patterns, here's your what did you learn. If you just walk through that module, you're good. This week 2 plan just reiterates all that and has links to the pieces in the module. So you can go about it whichever way makes sense for you. I may need to change some of these page numbers. I'm not sure. I'll double check them. So that's your 101 module. Okay. And then let me leave the student view. I'm going to go into 108 for you, just so you can see what's happening there. And it's basically the same deal. Oops. Okay, so I'll go this time and I'll go to the modules. So if you don't click on the link like I did, if you just go to modules, it's going to take you to the top. You can minimize this. If you do that, right, it shuts down week 1, right? Then I can open it back up. Little trick I bet some of you didn't realize. So here's week 2, right? And same deal. It's going to have the plan at the top. It's going to have the classwork that we did here, and it's going to have the homework listed here. Okay. And let me show you how to change notifications, if that's something you want to do. So if you go to, I think it's account. Yeah. Okay. Click on account, click on notifications, and you get to choose for each of these. You can tell it, notify me right away, send me a daily summary, send me a weekly summary, do not send me anything, right? So for the discussion posts, right, one of the assignments last week was a discussion post. So if, for example, you had notify me right away, clicked here, then every time somebody posted something, you got a notification. So if you come over here and do that, you will not get that anymore, okay? Some people like to get an alert when something's been graded, right? And you know, so you can go through each of these and decide what it is that you want an alert for and what you don't want an alert for. I'm all for minimizing notifications and alerts, so I get no alerts about anything on my phone. So that's it. If you have questions during the week, make sure you email me. I'm happy to answer questions. I will be grading stuff during the week. This week, you know, mostly if you're doing a lot of these smaller assignments, you're going to get full credit. You're going to get feedback. I'm worried about you learning. I'm not worried about how perfect you're doing things at this point, okay? We'll have plenty of formal assignments during the semester where you have to write a formal essay or you have to do some sort of exam. At those points, those I'm going to grade on how good it is, like if how effectively you complete the assignment. With a lot of the informal stuff, I'm more or less grading effort. I'm saying, like, did you do it? Did you put time into it? Does it look like you tried and you're grasping what's going on here? So just get the work done, catch up if you need to catch up, and let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in a week.